The Arab world, a region of vibrant cultures and a rich history, has been profoundly shaped by its colonial past. From the late 19th to the mid-20th centuries, European powers driven by imperial ambitions carved up the region, imposing their rule and leaving an indelible mark on its political, economic and social fabric. This period of Western dominance, though officially over, continues to cast a long shadow over the Arab world. The arbitrary borders drawn by colonial powers, the systems of governance they imposed, and the economic structures they established have had lasting consequences, fueling instability, conflict, and authoritarianism. Understanding the legacy of colonialism is essential for comprehending the complexities of the modern Arab world. The political dynamics, the sectarian tensions, and the struggle for democracy and self-determination that characterize the region are all deeply intertwined with its colonial experience. This essay will delve into the multifaceted ways in which Western colonialism has shaped contemporary Arab politics, examining its enduring impact on the region's trajectory. The remnants of colonialism are visible in the political boundaries, the economic disparities, and the social hierarchies that persist today. By exploring these historical influences, we can better understand the ongoing challenges and aspirations of the Arab world in its quest for a more just and equitable future. One of the most consequential legacies of Western colonialism in the Arab world is the creation of artificial borders. These borders, drawn with little regard for the intricate tapestry of ethnic, tribal and religious communities that existed for centuries, have left an indelible mark on the region. Driven by their own geopolitical interests rather than any consideration for existing social or ethnic boundaries, European powers drew lines on the map, dividing communities and creating new states with little regard for historical realities. The decisions made in distant European capitals were often based on strategic interests, economic gains, and political maneuvering, rather than the well-being of the local populations. This arbitrary division had profound implications, sowing the seeds of future conflicts and instability. The newly created borders often split families, tribes, and entire communities, leading to a sense of alienation and resentment. Over time, these divisions hardened, creating fault lines that would erupt into violence and conflict. Communities that had long lived together found themselves separated by newly imposed borders, their social and economic ties disrupted. Trade routes that had existed for centuries were suddenly cut off, and people who'd once moved freely across the region were now restricted by new national boundaries. This disruption of traditional ways of life had a lasting impact on the social fabric of the region. The artificiality of these divisions created tensions and rivalries that continue to plague the region today. Ethnic and sectarian groups that had coexisted for generations found themselves pitted against each other, often manipulated by external powers seeking to maintain control. The legacy of these divisions is evident in the ongoing conflicts and rivalries that continue to destabilize the region. Western colonialism not only redrew the map of the Arab world, but also profoundly influenced its political trajectory, fostering a culture of authoritarianism that has proven remarkably persistent. The arbitrary borders drawn by colonial powers often disregarded ethnic, tribal, and religious divisions, sowing the seeds of future conflicts and power struggles. Colonial powers, seeking to maintain control and exploit the region's resources, often favored strongmen and autocratic regimes over democratic institutions. These colonial administrators believed that authoritarian rulers would be more reliable in maintaining order and protecting their economic interests, leading to the establishment of regimes that prioritized loyalty to colonial powers over the well-being of their own people. These authoritarian regimes, propped up by their colonial patrons, suppressed dissent, curtailed civil liberties, and concentrated power in the hands of a select few. The leaders, often installed or supported by colonial powers, used their positions to enrich themselves and their inner circles, while the general population suffered under oppressive rule. They often relied on repressive tactics, including censorship, surveillance, and the brutal suppression of opposition, to maintain their grip on power. State-controlled media propagated the regime's narrative, while dissenting voices were silenced through imprisonment, torture, or even execution. The pervasive surveillance created an atmosphere of fear and mistrust, stifling any potential for organized resistance. This legacy of authoritarianism has cast a long shadow over the Arab world. The structures of power and control established during the colonial era have proven resilient, with many post-independence leaders adopting similar tactics to maintain their rule. The promise of independence was often overshadowed by the continuation of repressive governance. Even after achieving independence, many Arab countries continued to be ruled by autocratic regimes, often with the tacit support of their former colonial masters. These regimes maintained close ties with Western powers, who saw them as bulwarks against communism during the Cold War, and later as allies in the fight against terrorism. This external support further entrenched authoritarian rule, as leaders felt emboldened to suppress dissent without fear of international repercussions. Beyond politics, Western colonialism also left a deep imprint on the economic landscape of the Arab world, creating structures of dependency that continue to hinder its development. The economic systems established during the colonial period were designed to benefit the colonizers, often at the expense of the local populations. This has had long-lasting effects, shaping the economic realities of the region even today. Colonial powers viewed the region primarily as a source of raw materials and a market for their manufactured goods, implementing policies that served their interests at the expense of local economies. These policies were meticulously crafted to ensure that the colonies remained economically subservient, providing cheap resources while consuming expensive finished products. This created a cycle of economic dependency that was difficult to break. Rather than fostering industrialization and economic diversification, colonial powers often focused on extracting resources such as oil and minerals, leaving Arab economies heavily reliant on a narrow range of exports. This focus on resource extraction meant that other sectors of the economy were neglected, stifling the growth of local industries and innovation. The infrastructure developed was primarily aimed at facilitating the export of these resources rather than supporting broader economic development. This lack of economic diversification made these countries vulnerable to fluctuations in global commodity prices, hindering their ability to achieve sustainable growth. When global prices for their primary exports fell, these economies would suffer disproportionately, leading to economic instability and hardship for the local populations. This volatility has made long-term planning and development challenging, perpetuating a cycle of underdevelopment. Moreover, colonial powers often implemented policies that discouraged local industries from developing, ensuring that their colonies remained dependent on imports from the metropoles. By suppressing local industries, colonial rulers ensured that the colonies would not become economically self-sufficient. This suppression included high tariffs on local goods, restrictions on industrial activities, and the promotion of cash crops over food crops, which further entrenched economic dependency. This legacy of economic dependency has made it challenging for many Arab countries to break free from the cycle of underdevelopment. The economic structures and policies established during the colonial period have proven resilient, continuing to influence the economic trajectories of these nations. Efforts to diversify economies and develop local industries have often been hampered by the entrenched systems of dependency and the lack of necessary infrastructure and investment. The lack of economic opportunities, coupled with widespread corruption and cronyism, has fueled resentment and frustration, particularly among young people who face dim prospects in their own countries. This frustration is often exacerbated by the visible wealth and opportunities in other parts of the world, leading to a sense of injustice and disenfranchisement. The youth, who make up a significant portion of the population, find themselves trapped in a cycle of unemployment and underemployment, with few avenues for upward mobility. This economic despair has, in some cases, contributed to the rise of extremism, as disillusioned youth become vulnerable to radical ideologies. The lack of economic prospects and the pervasive sense of hopelessness can drive young people towards radical movements that promise change and a sense of purpose. These movements often exploit the economic grievances and frustrations of the youth, offering them a way to channel their anger and disillusionment. Addressing these economic challenges is crucial for fostering stability and development in the region. Pause 2S. As the shadows of colonialism lingered, a powerful force began to stir within the Arab world: nationalism. This movement was driven by a collective yearning for self-determination and the desire to break free from the chains of foreign domination. Nationalism emerged as a beacon of hope, uniting people across the region in their struggle for independence and self-governance. Pause 2s. The seeds of nationalism were sown in the early 20th century as intellectuals, activists and leaders began to advocate for the rights and sovereignty of their nations. They drew inspiration from global movements and revolutions, channeling the spirit of resistance into a unified call for freedom. This period saw the rise of influential figures who galvanized the masses, using their voices and actions to challenge the colonial powers. Pause 2s. Across the Arab world, nationalist movements took root, each with its unique characteristics, but all sharing a common goal: liberation. These movements were often met with fierce resistance from colonial authorities who sought to suppress the growing tide of dissent. However, the resilience and determination of the people could not be extinguished. Protests, uprisings and revolutions marked this era as ordinary citizens took to the streets to demand their rights and assert their identity. Pause 2s. The struggle for independence was not without its challenges. Many nationalist leaders faced imprisonment, exile or even death. Yet their sacrifices only fueled the resolve of their followers. The collective memory of these struggles became a powerful force, shaping the national consciousness and fostering a sense of unity and purpose. Pause 2s. By the mid-20th century, the wave of nationalism had swept across the Arab world, leading to the eventual withdrawal of colonial powers from many countries. The newly independent nations embarked on the challenging journey of nation building, striving to create societies that reflected their values and aspirations. The legacy of nationalism continues to resonate today as the Arab world navigates its path towards a future defined by freedom, justice, and prosperity. Pause 2s. The rise of nationalism was not just a political movement, it was a cultural and intellectual renaissance that celebrated the rich heritage and identity of the Arab people. It rekindled a sense of pride and belonging, laying the foundation for a new era of self-determination and growth. As we reflect on this pivotal chapter in history, we are reminded of the enduring power of unity and the unyielding spirit of those who fought for their right to be free. Pause 2s. The journey towards true independence and development is ongoing, but the lessons of the past continue to inspire future generations. The rise of nationalism stands as a testament to the strength and resilience of the Arab world. A reminder that even in the face of adversity, the pursuit of freedom and justice is a cause worth fighting for. Pause 2s. As nationalism surged through the Arab world, it ignited the flames of a broader struggle for independence. This struggle was marked by a series of pivotal moments that shaped the destiny of nations and their people. Pause 2s. In the streets and squares, the air was thick with the cries for freedom. Protests erupted, led by courageous individuals who risked everything to challenge the colonial yoke. These demonstrations were often met with brutal repression, yet the spirit of resistance remained unbroken. Pause 2s. Across the region, underground movements and secret societies played a crucial role in organizing resistance. These groups, operating in the shadows, coordinated efforts to disrupt colonial rule and galvanize public support. Their clandestine activities became the backbone of the independence movements, fostering a sense of solidarity and purpose among the oppressed. Pause 2s. The struggle for independence was not confined to the streets, it extended to the halls of power and the international stage. Diplomatic efforts were undertaken to garner support from global allies, while intellectuals and writers used their pens to articulate the aspirations of their people. The power of words and ideas became weapons in the fight for freedom, inspiring generations to come. Pause 2s. As the momentum grew, key battles and uprisings defined the path to independence. These confrontations, often bloody and fierce, were testaments to the unyielding determination of the people. Each victory, no matter how small, was a step closer to the ultimate goal of self-governance. Pause 2s. By the mid-20th century, the relentless pursuit of independence began to bear fruit. One by one, colonial powers were forced to relinquish control and new nations were born. The celebrations that followed were a testament to the triumph of the human spirit as people rejoiced in their newfound freedom. Pause 2s. The journey, however, was far from over. The newly independent states faced the monumental task of nation building. leaders emerged, tasked with the responsibility of shaping the future and realizing the dreams of their people. The legacy of the struggle for independence became a guiding light, reminding them of the sacrifices made and the promises yet to be fulfilled. Pause 2s. Today, the echoes of the struggle for independence resonate across the Arab world. The lessons learned and the values upheld during this critical period continue to influence the region's quest for justice, equality, and prosperity. Pause 2s. As we reflect on this chapter of history, we honor the bravery and resilience of those who fought for their right to self-determination. Their legacy serves as a beacon of hope and a reminder that the pursuit of freedom is a journey that must be carried forward by each new generation. Pause 2s. The struggle for independence stands as a testament to the enduring strength of the Arab world, a symbol of the unbreakable will to overcome adversity and forge a future defined by dignity and sovereignty. To pause 2s. The dawn of independence brought with it a new set of challenges for the Arab world. Pause 2s. The euphoria of liberation quickly gave way to the harsh realities of nation building. Pause 2s. Leaders, once united against a common enemy, now faced the daunting task of governing diverse and fragmented societies. Pause 2s. Political instability became a recurring theme, with coups, revolutions, and civil wars disrupting the fragile peace. Pause 2s. The legacy of artificial borders created by colonial powers continued to haunt the region, fueling conflicts and rivalries that persist to this day. Pause 2s. Economic challenges were equally daunting. Pause 2s. The underdevelopment and dependency fostered by colonial rule left newly independent states struggling to build sustainable economies. Pause 2s. Infrastructure was often inadequate. Pause 2s. Industries were underdeveloped. Pause 2s. Resources were exploited for the benefit of former colonial powers. Pause 2s. Social challenges also emerged as deeply ingrained inequalities and divisions came to the fore. Pause 2s. The quest for national identity and unity was complicated by ethnic, religious, and sectarian differences. Pause 2s. Despite these obstacles, the spirit of resilience and determination that fueled the struggle for independence continued to drive efforts towards progress. Pause 2s. Leaders and citizens alike embarked on ambitious projects to modernize their nations, improve education, and advance social justice. Pause 2s. International alliances and regional cooperation became crucial in addressing the myriad challenges faced by the new states. Pause 2s. As we reflect on the post-colonial journey, we recognize both the achievements and the ongoing struggles of the Arab world. Pause 2s. The lessons of the past serve as a guide for navigating the complexities of the present and building a future rooted in justice, equality, and prosperity. Pause 2s. The post-colonial era stands as a testament to the enduring resilience and determination of the Arab people, a symbol of their unyielding quest for a better tomorrow. Pause 2s. Pause 2a. In the present day, the Arab world stands at a critical juncture. Pause 2s. The echoes of colonialism and the struggles of the post-colonial era still resonate, shaping the political, economic, and social landscapes of the region. Pause 2s. However, a new chapter is being written, one that is defined by innovation, resilience, and a renewed sense of purpose. Pause 2s. Modern technology and globalization have opened up unprecedented opportunities for growth and development. Pause 2s. Young entrepreneurs and visionaries are driving change, harnessing the power of digital transformation to create new industries and job opportunities. Pause 2s. Education and empowerment programs are taking root, nurturing a new generation of leaders committed to social justice and equality. Pause 2s. The Arab world is also witnessing a cultural renaissance as artists, writers, and filmmakers reclaim their narratives and celebrate their rich heritage. Pause 2s. International cooperation and regional alliances are being strengthened, fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose. Pause 2s. Yet challenges remain. Pause 2s. Political instability, economic disparity, and social tensions continue to pose significant hurdles. Pause 2s. But the spirit of resilience and the quest for a better future remain unwavering. Pause 2s. As the region navigates the complexities of the modern world, the lessons of the past serve as a beacon, guiding the way towards a brighter, more inclusive future. Pause 2s. The journey is far from over, but with determination and hope, the Arab world is poised to turn the page and embrace its full potential. Pause 2s.